when I was a young lad. Exactly 3 days old, right? Fresh out the cuts. I'm laying on the couch with my dad. He falls asleep. Next thing you know, boom! Call me Denzel Curry, cause I hit the flow. And for the longest time, this was the event I blamed for my mental slowness and inability to focus. It permanently nerfed me. And it's not like I was an iPad kid either. I was born in 2003. My entertainment was Lego Star Wars and flushed away on DVD. I watched that shit at least 50 times.
Huzzah! A man of quality.
For a bit, we also had cable. But in first grade, that was swapped out for Netflix. And it was there where I first started watching JohnnyTest. If you never heard of it, it follows Johnny, a spastic little 11-year-old who was a talking dog best friend and two genius twin sisters who work in a lab and test all kinds of shit on him. I was enamored by it. It was the first time I watched an entire show, at which point it was only 4 seasons. I remember running out of episodes and thinking it was an error. I didn't even realize shows could end. But even after I finished it, I continued watching it all the way through, over and over again. I couldn't get enough. It was funny, violent, had all kinds of wacky characters, and all the goofy sound effects that can still be heard in my head to this day. And Johnny, wow, he's so cool. At 11 years old, doing all kinds of crazy shit with little to no fear or remorse. What an awesome life. What a great show. And that was that. But years later, I'm scrolling through YouTube and I get recommended this clip. Guess how many sound effects are in the first minute of this episode? You got your number? You ready? 84. 84 sound effects. It hit me. This is what started my journey into retardation. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one. This was OG Brainrot. Truly ahead of its time. And it's not just the sound effects and the quick cuts either. The plot is just nothing. There is no rhyme or reason to anything. Every episode is just Johnny irresponsibly using his sister's inventions to take a shortcut or not be bored, which always ends in disaster. Usually the destruction of their town pork belly. They always put a stop to whatever it is they created, but still, their creations have probably resulted in the deaths of thousands. We don't see it, obviously, because it's a kid's show. But don't get it twisted. These 4 are literal terrorists. They do put a stop to some pretty heinous individuals themselves. Like that toy dude who actually attempts to murk kids. Like that's his goal in life, just to murk kids, right? And like, how does he keep making money? And who keeps letting him out of prison? But that's no excuse for their actions. Plus, they barely even care. Like, I know Johnny's a little shithead 11-year-old, but he's a sociopath. Pretty much everything he does is out of self-interest. All that matters to him is that he's entertained, no matter what the cost. There's a reason he has no friends outside of Dookie. His sisters, though, might somehow be even worse. I mean, they are the ones creating these dangerous inventions, which they continually test on their little brother. And when their inventions inevitably go awry, what do? They praise themselves.
We're such geniuses.
While watching thousands lose their homes, lives, and loved ones. Imagine different sound effects being used on this show. Add in their Diddy-like attempts to get Gil next door to fall in love with them. Slipping him all kinds of shit to ingest, which he continually falls for because he's somewhat mentally handicapped. Their Cosby attempts never work though, and usually just put him and others in even more danger. And still, he's unaware that they even exist.
You have to invite my sisters too. You have sisters?
They're supposed to be super geniuses. They're like super villains. They just do not care. I guess I'll give Dookie a pass because he's a dog and he usually advises against their psychotic ideas. And the whole lot of them are never punished for any of this, outside of being grounded or possibly beaten off screen by their abusive dad.
Now run or else. You're gonna shoot me?
The military are very present in this show, and they don't do anything. Like, they got this big-ass base a few miles outside of town, and they often come to intervene when one of the experiments go awry, but they can't stop shit. They're a bunch of idiots. Even though they know the tests are the ones creating 85% of the city's disasters, they don't do anything about them. Outside of a couple Weenie Hut Jr. attempts, which they always fall back on, In fact, the two special agents usually in charge of looking after the tests, Mr. Black and Mr. White, are super corrupt.
I blew up Malaysia.
Constantly seeking out the help of the twins and Johnny in hopes of winning trips to Fiji. No wonder nothing's being done. They got war criminals in charge of them. Even the general who's in charge of the whole thing is guilty of this. Though he's the only one throughout the entire show, outside of the villains of course, to suggest a possible assassination attempt on the tests.
Well, I suggest that you put an end to their mayhem for good.
Which would do the town of Pork Belly a tremendous service. I'll give credit where credit is due though. The four of them are pretty capable and have some creative solutions to a lot of the problems that again they created. With Pork Belly in a comparable state to Gotham, why doesn't the government convict them and have the twins work on tech to fight the other criminals while training Johnny to be their weapon or something? The fatality and crime rate would drop like 10,000%. Like Cecil would fix this shit in a day. Wow, I really just ranted about the world of JohnnyTest. With all that being said, is it a bad show? No, it's fine. But it's just mindless children's entertainment with a little lowbrow humor. With jokes usually just being something like, wow, you're such a nerd, or oh, smelly, or the classic, look at that fat ass, right? Something like that. Always accompanied with a whip crack and or some other sound from their insanely large soundboard. To this day, whenever I subconsciously react to something, the appropriate JohnnyTest sound effect always plays alongside it. Something will smell and I'll hear That's all I ever took from this show. It's just a somewhat entertaining nothing burger. Some shit goes down, the lessons are learned. Not gonna lie though, watching an episode of this now, I was mesmerized. It's so goddamn stimulating. And as much as I watched this growing up, I feel it's in my right to blame this show for a lot of my focusing issues. It truly is OG Brainrot. Let me know down in the comments if this show damaged you as well. Thank you all so much for watching. This truly was a video of all time. Good night.